Welcome to the new video. Today we will see transitioning from BPO to DevOps, how we can leverage our non-tech experience into DevOps. So let's start the video. Have you ever felt that your BPO experience is stopping you from getting into DevOps or IT? Maybe you would have applied to DevOps, but because you are from non-tech background, so why would company hire me? So here's the truth. Your BPO experience is not your weakness. It's actually one of your biggest strength, and if you know how to present it correctly. So today we are going to understand how exactly professionals transition from BPO to DevOps, and basically what skills are required and what they already have and what they need to learn as technical, and how to present them by aligning it with DevOps. Okay, so if you're currently working in BPO, or you have several years of experience, and this video could completely change how you see your career. So a biggest misconception is that most people believe that DevOps is only for software developers, and that's simply not true. DevOps is solving operational problems through automation. So company don't just need people who can write code, they need professionals who have that mindset, that they understand the process, they are ready to improve the process, they are ready to communicate through different team, troubleshoot issues, and handle that production pressure. So think about your work as a BPO. You probably follow standard operating procedures, then handle incidents, meet strict SLAs, working with ticketing system, is escalate issues correctly, communicate with multiple stakeholders, maintain documentation, handle production pressure. So if this is your work, then congratulations, you are already practicing many of the operational skills that successful DevOps engineer use every single day. Now it's just that let's map your current experience to DevOps. So in BPO, your goal is to resolve customer issues within agreed timeline, and in DevOps also the goal is to maintain the application uptime and meeting service availability targets, and this is the same discipline. Okay, we in BPO we follow the ticket management, we manage support tickets. In DevOps also engineers use tools like Jira, ServiceNow, or any other ITSM platform to manage incidents, deployments, and production issues. Then process adherence that we follow in BPO, we have a documented workflows. DevOps people also rely heavily on documented deployment process and CI/CD pipeline, infrastructure order, and change management. So another thing is communication skills. So this is one of the area you BPO professionals are communicating with different stakeholders, customers, and managing the communication, and same is required in DevOps too. So, and the next very important thing is working under pressure, because production issues don't wait, and we have to we have to be calm and resolve the issue within the stipulated time, and that we are already doing, okay, as a BPO professionals. So what technical skills now we need? Now these were all the discipline things that we are already following as a when we are a BPO professional. But what technical skills we need? So first of all, we need to start with Linux. In Linux, learn file management, permission, shell commands, services, networking basics, and process management. Then next, learn Git. Version control is used everywhere. Then move to scripting. Bash scripting is enough to begin. Then after that, understand the CI/CD. Either you learn Jenkins or GitHub Action, any one of the tool, and there are other tools also, but you can explore any one of them. Then understand through CI/CD, try to understand how code moves from development to production. Okay, then learn Docker, how containers are now standard across the industry. Next come Kubernetes, like understand pods, deployment, services, namespaces, scaling. After then, start learning cloud computing. So AWS is very popular, but you can go for AWS, Azure, GCP, in whatever cloud you are comfortable in. So try to learn the major services like EC2, VMs, VPC, CloudWatch, and basic networking, how infrastructure is created. And after understanding the infrastructure, the services, the resources, try to learn finally the infrastructure as code, that is Terraform. Okay. So because if you are able to automate the infrastructure instead of creating it manually, that is superb. Okay, try to build projects instead of just collecting certificates. And that's a very big mistake that we do. We collect 20 certificates, but the first question that is asked in the interview, that what have you built? And so try to work on the projects like deploy a web application using Docker, build a Jenkins CI pipeline for different applications like Java, Python, Node.js, host application on AWS, try to automate infrastructure using Terraform, deploy application in Kubernetes, and upload everything on GitHub, because GitHub is your practical resume that you can show. Now, how will you say your BPO experience during, like, how will you present your BPO experience? So, don't say that I only worked in BPO. Say something like, I have several years of experience working in operations where I handled incident management, SLA, compliance, documentation, stakeholder communication, and process optimization. While working, I upskilled myself in Linux, AWS, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, Terraform, and built multiple DevOps projects that demonstrate my practical knowledge. So, you're not hiding anything, and you're also connecting it to a DevOps. Okay. So, try to frame your answers like this and try to present it accordingly, instead of just saying that you're working in a BPO and you are from non-tech background. So every DevOps engineer, always remember, every DevOps engineer started from somewhere. Some came from development, some came from system administration, some came from support, and many came from BPO background. So it is not like if you are in non-tech background, it is impossible to switch to IT or your tech background, because we are following the same discipline, the communication, the ownership skill, the documentation skill, the problem solving skill, and these only skills are required in DevOps. Just add on your technical tool learning, build real projects, practice how to give interviews, watch mock interviews, try to frame your answers, and try to prepare yourself for cross question answers too. Like whatever you are saying, be prepared that whatever cross question will come through from whatever you are saying, you're prepared for that too. That should be your way of preparing, and that's it. And stay consistent. Consistency is the key. So I'll give everything, whatever I said, in the description box, like the tools basically, whatever you have to prepare, and what projects you can start with. So that's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.